If I asked you right now which class you belong to, lower, middle, or upper, what would you say? Most people answer based on a feeling. They look at their latest paycheck, the neighborhood they live in, or the car sitting in the driveway. But here's the cold, hard truth: your class has almost nothing to do with any of that. It comes down to one single, inescapable number: your net worth. When you actually sit down and run the math, most Americans discover they aren't nearly where they think they are. Some are far behind. A few are way ahead. And the data tells you exactly where the lines are drawn. I'm Professor Wealth, and today we're climbing the entire wealth ladder, from the bottom 25% all the way to the top 10%. Every number I give you comes from the Federal Reserve Survey of Consumer Finances, the gold standard dataset on American household wealth, released in October 2023. The next update doesn't drop until late 2026, so this is still the most accurate picture we have. To make this real, we're going to follow one person's journey from start to finish. Meet Tyler. He's 34, makes $85,000 a year, and feels like he's doing pretty well. But as you're about to see, the math tells a very different story. Part 1: The Wealth Trap. Before we start the climb, we have to clear up the single biggest misconception in personal finance: your income is not your wealth. Think of it this way: your income is the water flowing through the faucet. Your net worth is how much water is actually staying in the bathtub. If the drain is wide open, debt, lifestyle creep, depreciating cars, it doesn't matter how fast the faucet runs. The tub stays empty. Net worth is everything you own: home equity, savings, 401k, brokerage accounts, vehicles, minus everything you owe: mortgages, student loans, credit cards, auto loans. That number is the only thing that determines your spot on the ladder. Let's run Tyler's numbers. He brings home about $5,200 a month after taxes. He pays $1,600 in rent, drives a nice 2022 sedan he financed 2 years ago, and contributes 2% to his 401k. Assets: a car worth $22,000, a $12,000 401k, and $3,000 in savings. Total, $37,000. Liabilities: $18,000 left on the car loan, plus $26,000 in student debt. Total, $44,000. $37,000 minus $44,000 equals negative $7,000. Tyler isn't middle class. He's in the bottom 25% of all American households. According to Federal Reserve data, the bottom 25% holds net worth under roughly $27,000, and Tyler is well below even that line. This bracket isn't just minimum wage workers. It's full of people earning $70,000, $80,000, even $100,000 who simply haven't built assets. Money comes in, money goes right back out: to debt, to depreciating cars, to lifestyle. This is what I call the comfortable trap: earning enough to live well, but not enough to ever actually be wealthy. The data backs this up. The Fed found that more than 3/4 of American households carry debt, with an average balance of $163,800. Credit cards, vehicle loans, and student loans are the top 3 drains. Tyler is hitting all 3. Part 2: The Lower Middle Class, Power of a Roof. To climb out of the bottom 25% and into the lower middle class, that's everyone with net worth between $27,000 and the national median of $192,700, Tyler has to close a gap of about $34,000. He has 2 levers: grow assets or kill debt. They're equally powerful, because subtracting a liability has the exact same effect on net worth as adding an asset. If Tyler aggressively attacks those student loans with an extra $500 a month on top of his minimum payment, he wipes them out in about 3 years. Combined with continued 401k contributions and paying down the car loan, he crosses the $27,000 line and keeps climbing. But here is the secret of this entire bracket: most people in it didn't get there through the stock market. They got there through home equity. A typical lower middle class household might have $60,000 in home equity, $15,000 in retirement, and a small savings cushion. The house is doing the heavy lifting. The problem? You can't eat your house. This bracket feels safer because there's an asset behind you, but it's still financially fragile. If a job loss or medical emergency hits, that home equity won't pay your grocery bill. You'd have to sell or borrow against the house, and both options come with steep costs. Part 3, the median and the upper middle class. Now we hit the median, $192,700. That's the exact midpoint of America. Half of all households have more, half have less. At this level, you've likely got around $120,000 in home equity and $50,000 in retirement. You're doing okay. But here's the scary part: if you strip out home equity, the median liquid net worth in America drops to about $58,000. That's the only real cushion half the country has, and a chunk of that is tied up in cars and other things you can't easily sell. However, once you cross into the upper middle class, net worth between $192,700 and roughly $659,000, something fundamental shifts. This is the launchpad. In the lower brackets, wealth happens almost by accident as you pay down a mortgage. In the upper middle class, wealth becomes intentional. People here start maxing 401k contributions, opening brokerage accounts, building emergency funds that actually protect them. By the time you hit $500,000 in net worth, your assets typically split roughly 50-50ths between your home and your investment portfolio. This is where compound growth starts doing the heavy lifting. The math is counterintuitive but real. It actually takes less time to go from $600,000 to $1 million than it took to go from $0 to $600,000, because at higher balances, your money is generating more money than your salary is. The flywheel is finally spinning. Part 4, the upper class and the top 10%. Next is the upper class, net worth between $659,000 and $1.94 million. That's the top 25%, but not yet the top 10%. Here, the script flips completely. Investments now dominate your net worth. Your house is no longer your biggest asset, your portfolio is. According to the Fed, households at this level hold a much higher share of their wealth in stocks, retirement accounts, and business equity, and a much lower share in vehicles and cash. You don't need a lottery ticket to get here. If a couple invests $1,000 a month starting at age 30, with a 7% annual return, they'll have over $520,000 by age 50 in that account alone. Add a paid-off home and they're firmly in the upper class. It's not flashy. It's just disciplined. Then there's the top 10%, $1.94 million and above. That number comes straight from the Fed's 2022 SCF and is widely cited across financial media. At this level, wealth works differently. A $1.94 million portfolio, even at a conservative 4% safe withdrawal rate, generates about $77,000 a year in passive income. That's more than the median American household income earned while you sleep. Work becomes a choice, not a necessity. That's the real definition of wealth, when your money earns more than you do. One thing to keep in mind: the top 10% isn't a yacht and private jet club. The 18-29 age bracket only needs about $282,000 to be in the top 10% for their age group. Age changes everything, which is exactly what we're going to talk about next. The Motley Fool. Part 5, the age reveal in Tyler's 3 paths. These percentile lines I just gave you are for the entire population. But your real benchmark should be your age group, because a 30-year-old with $250,000 is doing extraordinarily well, while a 60-year-old with $250,000 is behind. Here's what the Fed data shows for median net worth by age. Under 35, $39,000. 65 to 74, $410,000, the peak. Tyler is 34 with negative $7,000. Median for his cohort is $39,000. He's not behind the general population, he's behind roughly 75% of his peers. He's in the bottom quarter for his age group. But here's the good news: he has the most valuable asset of all time. 20 more years of compound growth can rewrite his entire story. Let's look at Tyler's 3 possible futures by age 54. Scenario 1, the coaster. Tyler does nothing different. He pays minimums, saves 2% in his 401k. By 54, he has roughly $130,000. The median for his age group at 54 is $247,000. He earned a good salary for 20 more years, and still ended up below average. He didn't fail dramatically. He just drifted. Scenario 2, the intentional. Tyler cuts spending, frees up $700 a month, kills his debt in 3 years, buys a modest home, and starts properly funding retirement. By 54, he has roughly $500,000, comfortably in the upper middle class for his age, top 25% of his cohort. Scenario 3, the aggressive. Tyler increases his income to $110,000 through promotions and side income, lives on his old $85,000 budget, invests $1,500 a month, and house hacks a duplex, living in one unit while renting out the other. The rental income covers a chunk of his mortgage. By 54, between his investment account and home equity, Tyler crosses $1 million. That's well into the top 10% for his age group. From negative $7,000 to a millionaire in 20 years. No inheritance, no luck, just consistent decisions that match the math. So back to my first question, which class are you really in? If the number you calculated today isn't what you expected, don't view it as failure. View it as information. The Fed's data isn't a verdict, it's a starting point. The 2022 SCF showed something remarkable. The biggest percentage gains between 2019 and 2022 came from households who started with the lowest net worth. People who paid down debt, who finally bought their first home, who started investing for the first time, they moved fastest. The greatest financial advantage you can have isn't a high salary. It's knowing exactly where you stand and having a plan to move the needle. The wealth ladder isn't fixed. People climb it every single day by making decisions that match the math. If you want to see more deep dives into the real numbers behind your money, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We're here to help you run the math that actually matters. See you in the next one.